Hello there, curious minds, and welcome back to our audio adventure. I'm Jamie, your guide today.
And I'm Alex, ready to ask all the questions lurking in the back of your brain. Jamie, I've been hearing a lot about something called AI lately. It sounds a bit like magic, or maybe a super smart robot in a movie. Can it really help us with things?
It absolutely can, Alex. In fact, it's already helping in countless ways you might not even realize. Think of AI, or artificial intelligence, not as a magic wand or a sci-fi robot, but more like an incredibly diligent and super fast helper. It's a special kind of tool that can learn to do many tasks that normally require human thought or effort.
A helper? So, like, it can tidy my room or finish my chores?
Well, maybe not quite tidy your physical room yet, though some robots with AI are getting good at that. But it can definitely help organize your digital world, for instance. Imagine if you had thousands of photos of your toys, cars, dolls, building blocks, all mixed up on a computer. An AI could learn to sort them all for you, putting all the car photos in one folder and all the doll photos at another without you lifting a finger.
Whoa! So it's not just doing what someone tells it to do, like a regular computer program. It actually learns to sort them? How does a computer learn? Does it go to a special school?
That's a brilliant question, Alex, and it gets right to the heart of what makes AI so powerful. It doesn't go to school in the way we do, but it does learn in a very unique way. Let's use an analogy to understand this. Imagine you want to become a master chef.
Ooh, I love food. Tell me more.
Great! To become a master chef, you wouldn't just read one recipe. You'd probably study thousands of recipes. You'd look at all sorts of dishes, cakes, stews, salads. You'd notice patterns. Most cakes use flour, sugar, and eggs. Most stews involve simmering meat and vegetables. You'd also pay attention to how different ingredients combine to create new flavors and what steps lead to a delicious outcome.
So I'd be looking for the common things, the ingredients that always show up together, or the steps that happen in a certain order.
Exactly. You'd be building up a mental library of ingredients, techniques, and outcomes. Now, an AI learns in a very similar fashion. We provide it with vast amounts of recipes, which we call data. If we want it to sort toy photos, we show it thousands and thousands of already sorted toy photos. We might show it, this is a car, this is a doll, this is a building block.
So the photos are like the ingredients, and the labels, car, doll, are like knowing what dish they make.
That's a perfect way to put it. The AI, our super chef, then studies all those labeled recipes. It doesn't just memorize each individual photo. Instead, it looks for patterns within the images. It starts to notice. Cars often have wheels and shiny surfaces. Dolls usually have faces and fabric clothes. Building blocks are typically rigid and colorful squares or rectangles. It's looking for the defining ingredients and cooking methods that make each dish unique.
And once it learns those patterns, it can sort new photos it's never seen before?
Precisely. Once our AI super chef has studied enough recipes, it develops its own understanding of what makes a car photo a car photo. Then, when you give it a brand new, unsorted photo, it can look at it, compare its features to the patterns it learned, and say, this looks like a car. I'll put it in the car folder.
This ability to learn from examples and recognize patterns is a core concept of many AI systems. Wow, that's really clever. So it's like teaching a computer to be an expert at identifying things just by showing it tons of examples. But what about something more complicated, like writing an email? That sounds like it needs creativity, not just pattern recognition.
Another excellent observation, Alex. You're absolutely right that writing an email feels different from sorting photos. But here, our super chef analogy still applies, just with a slightly different kind of recipe. Think about it. When you write an email, you're following certain patterns too, even if you don't realize it.
What kind of patterns?
Well, emails usually start with a greeting, have a main message, and then a closing. The words and phrases you use depend on who you're writing to and what you want to say. For instance, an email to a friend will sound different from an email to a teacher.
Oh, right. I wouldn't say, yo, teach in an email to my principal.
Exactly. You intuitively understand the recipe for different kinds of emails. AI can learn these recipes too. We feed it vast amounts of text, millions of emails, books, articles, conversations, and it studies how words, sentences, and paragraphs fit together to create meaning. It learns grammar, common phrases, and even different tones for different situations.
So it's not just learning what a car looks like, but what a polite closing for an email looks like?
You've got it. It learns the ingredients of language, individual words, and the cooking methods, how to combine those words into sentences, paragraphs, and then entire pieces of writing that make sense and sound appropriate. So, if you tell an AI, write an email to my friend about our soccer game, it taps into all the patterns it's learned about friendly emails, soccer, and conversational language, and then generates new text that fits those criteria.
That's amazing. So it's not actually thinking like a person, but it's gotten so good at recognizing and using patterns that it seems like it's thinking.
That's a very insightful way to put it, Alex. For now, AI excels at recognizing patterns, making predictions, and generating responses based on the data it has learned from. It doesn't have emotions or consciousness in the human sense. It's more like an incredibly powerful and fast pattern matching and generation engine. Its intelligence is artificial because it's designed by us to perform tasks that we associate with human intelligence.
Okay, so it's like a super speedy librarian who has read every book in the world and knows exactly where to find information or how to arrange words to make a story. Speaking of librarians, you mentioned AI could help explain difficult problems. How does that work? Does it become a teacher too?
That's a perfect segue to our next analogy, Alex. For explaining difficult problems or translating languages, let's imagine our AI not just as a super chef, but also as a knowledge navigator, someone who has explored every corner of an enormous library and knows every single book inside out.
A library of all the world's knowledge? That's a lot of books.
It is indeed. And our AI knowledge navigator has not only read all those books, but it's also understood how all the different pieces of information connect. If you ask it a question about, say, how photosynthesis works, which can be a tricky topic, our AI doesn't just recall a memorized definition.
So it doesn't just read me the textbook chapter.
Not exactly. Instead, it accesses all the different explanations, diagrams, examples, and analogies it has read about photosynthesis across that vast library. It then synthesizes that information, bringing together the best parts, and explains it in a clear, concise way, often drawing on different perspectives it has learned.
So it picks out the key ideas and puts them into simple language for me?
Exactly. It can translate complex scientific jargon into everyday terms, or break down a multi-step process into easier-to-understand chunks, much like a great teacher or a clear-thinking friend would. It's like it knows how to navigate the complex landscape of information and find the clearest path for you to understand.
So it's not just translating from French to English, but from super complicated science to Jamie explains it to Alex language?
You found another great use for the word translate. It's true. AI can translate between human languages, like Chinese to English, because it has learned the patterns and structures of both languages by studying countless examples of translated texts. But it can also translate complex ideas into simpler ones by understanding the underlying concepts and then rephrasing them, just as you described.
This is really making sense now. So to recap, AI is like a super helper that learns by seeing lots and lots of examples, like our master chef learning recipes or our knowledge navigator exploring a library. It looks for patterns in all that information. And once it finds those patterns, it can then do amazing things like sort my photos, write emails, translate languages, and even explain difficult ideas.
That's a fantastic summary, Alex. You've really captured the core idea. The method of AI, at its simplest, is about learning from data to recognize patterns and then using those patterns to make decisions, create new things, or understand complex information. It helps us with tasks that are repetitive, time-consuming, or require processing vast amounts of information, freeing up our own minds for creativity, problem-solving, and just enjoying life more.
So it's not just a fancy gadget, it's a tool that helps us think bigger and do more by taking care of the detailed work.
Absolutely. And the wonderful thing is that this technology is always evolving, always learning. It's a testament to human ingenuity, creating tools that can extend our own capabilities. Think of it as another incredible invention that helps us explore, create, and understand our world in new ways.
That makes me feel less confused and more excited about AI now. It's like having a helpful friend who's super good at remembering patterns and finding connections.
That's exactly the spirit to approach it with, Alex. Curiosity and an understanding of its potential as a tool. Thank you for all your wonderful questions today.
And thank you, Jamie, for making something that seemed so complicated feel so clear. I really appreciate it.
It was my pleasure. And to all our curious listeners out there, thank you for joining us on this adventure into the world of artificial intelligence.
Keep exploring.
And keep wondering.
Goodbye for now.
See you next time.